Hello guys, and welcome to another edition of Rage Against the Dice. Today we're doing something a little bit different. I do apologise in advance for the fact that you probably will hear life going on around you. We're still in lockdown, as you guys are probably aware, and so we've got washers and dryers and stuff going off, and we've got people using exercise bikes, and we're just going to have to cope with it. So I apologise in advance, but today we're doing something a little bit different. As a lot of you who are trying to buy stuff online might know, certain things, such as certain Games Workshop paints, for instance, are becoming harder and harder to find. Another thing that's becoming harder and harder to find are paintbrushes. If you've watched any of my previous videos, or you've been on the channel any length of time, you know I use a mix of Games Workshop, Army Paint, and Winsor & Newton 7th series. They're all becoming increasingly harder to find, because Games Workshop is still shut down, etc, etc. So, over the next couple of videos, we're going to look at some alternatives. Now, this first set I got from Amazon, and I think at the time it was around about £6, but due to the fact that they can now, when I checked this morning, so I could copy the link to paste it in the description, you do apologise, I'm full of, well, allergies, I guess. Being in the house all the time, no matter how much I dust. Yeah. But anyway, these are up to about £11 now, I think it is, including postage and packaging if you're in the UK. But as I said, when I paid for them, they were £6. So we're going to have a look and see how good they are. Now, the model that I'm using is this absolutely fantastic model by Black Scorpion Miniatures, and it's one of their Western range, and it was actually from their Kickstarter. So what we're going to do is we're going to bust these open and we're going to have a look. Now, these are real sable. We're going to have a look at some other Amazon ones later that are synthetics, and we've also got some ones coming from places like The Works. Of course, being in England, most of the ones I show are purchased in England. If they're not, I'll let you know. Where there's possible, if I know there's an alternative, I'll suggest that. But all I did was I typed wargaming miniature paintbrushes into Amazon, and I found a load of them, a list, if you will. So yeah, I'm going to take these out of the packaging. You guys don't need to see that, and then we'll have a look at them. So here you have it. We have 6 different brushes of varying sizes, of course, and they're numbered 1 to 6. So for those of you who can't physically look and tell the difference in size, it should be there. But yeah, so first thing I always like to do with a new brush is I like to check out the actual brush itself. Like it feels okay. So you can see that. I don't know how well that's zooming in, but makes a point. Obviously, we are going to show these being used on actual models. It's not just going to be me showing them up to the camera and going, look, a brush. So yeah. So that was the number 5. This is number 6, which of course should be the biggest, because, yeah. Let me just straighten these out. So I quite like the number 5. So that number 6 doesn't feel great. It's odd, considering the handles and things look the same. They've obviously been made by the same company. There's a very different feel to the number 5 to the number 6 brush. It's the number 4. Again, these aren't expensive brushes, so I don't expect them to be like life-changing. But what we're looking for is a potential alternative that's not going to break the bank. As you can tell, I've been spraying this morning. Getting some more Judge Dredd miniatures ready. We've got a Judge Dredd video coming up, unboxing the Judge Dredd and his, well, not sidekick partner, Anderson. We've got a couple of videos coming up for them, and we've also got a look at the arch villains of Mega City 1, and also what the Block Gang reinforcement set comes like. So they've been getting sprayed up ready. The unboxing side of it's been filmed. So this is the number 3 brush. Now, this tends to be the kind of size brush I use the most. It's a bit blurry for you now. But yeah, I'm going to say so far, they're about what you'd expect. Now, that feels actually a lot better in quality. This is the number 2 brush. And then we'll look at the last one, number 1, and then we'll actually get some painting done. So yeah, the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to start with the number 6 brush, and I'm going to give this miniature over here a bit of a wash. For model painters, obviously you know what I mean. For this I'm using Camo Shade. It's a Games Workshop green, and it's obviously a camo-y style one to go on her dress, because I want to go for like an olivey style colour. Now, I don't normally, but for the purposes of speed and time, I'm going to knock the camera. I do apologize, guys. No, for the purposes of speed and time, I'm going to use this straight out the pot. Even with washes, I try wherever possible to water them down, even if it's just a little bit. I'll put them on a palette so I can work with them a little better. So, trying to paint through the viewfinder like that was ever going to be that good. Oh, sorry guys, I really am. Come on. Right, so it is blurring every time. I do apologise. Give me 1 second. I'm going to mess with my settings on my camera. Because, yeah, this isn't doing justice for the brushes or you guys. Right, so hopefully this is going to be a lot better. I had left one of the motion tracking sensors on from when I was filming the boys doing stuff on the trampoline. No, I can't get it to focus. I do apologize. I'm going to move this further back. Yeah, that works a lot better. As I said when I was doing the Bot Wars video, it's still a bit of a learning curve, and I am going to obviously keep working on it, because at the minute I'm doing a lot of painting, because what else is there to do, really? So I may as well incorporate that into the channel. So some brush reviews. I've ordered a couple of different paint sets that I normally wouldn't use. I've ordered the really nice Coat to Arms Fantasy paint set. It was a bit more expensive than I would usually spend, but I love Coat to Arms paints. I really do. So this wash is going on as nicely as a wash ever does. And yeah, I think what I'm going to do is, because obviously we've got 2 or 3 of these videos coming up, showing off a couple of these different cheap sets of brushes. I think what I'll do is, a month or so down the line, once I've used them a bit, I think what I will do is I'll then do a video, just kind of like a month later, and we'll look at all of them at once and see where we're at. So that was the number 6. Now for the number 5, I'm going to do something a bit different. I'm going to go for Zandri Dust, which is the base coat I use for sand. And we do actually have a video showing you how to do the sand bases I do. Now, this is a paint, so I will be putting this on a palette. I'm mixing it up because I'm putting it on quite thickly, because I want it to cover the black itself. I tend to mix it up to be 1 part water, 1 part paint for this. And then I'll usually give it a second coat. So as you can see, I want it to be quite watery. And in shot would help. Yeah, guys, not the most professional of painting videos, I'm sure you'll agree. But again, we're not looking at my painting technique, my style, or my anything like that. What we're looking at is whether these brushes are any good. And so far, I can say they're holding together nicely. And sometimes you will get it with cheap brushes where even the first time you use them, you can see them start to split apart. I've noticed I've gone far further down this brush with paint than I would have done. Look at that. That's a effing disgrace, that is. If Nate saw that, he'd shake me like a British nanny shakes a baby. Despicable it is. And again, you can tell the difference between how I would treat my good brushes. Yeah, you guys didn't see, well, you probably didn't say that. But I kind of, yeah, accidentally twitched. I think I've mentioned it before, actually, that I have, and if I haven't, I'll explain. I have some nerve damage in my hand from my days as a pro wrestler. Doing silly shit. It was from years before, like, I was pro, when I was still young and I was still backyarding and that kind of crap, which I know we say don't do, but every kid does, whether it's playing Power Rangers or pretending to be a pro wrestler. And I hurt my wrist quite badly. And what was worse was I didn't go and get it sorted. So it just stayed. I had broken wrist for about a week. And I didn't realise it was broken. I just thought it was really hurt. So I have some nerve damage in my hand. And occasionally my hand twitches or it opens. Which is why I use the table a lot. I tend to lock my hands together like this. And I put them on the table. So if a model falls, it doesn't fall far. But that's by the by. You guys want to know about brushes, not about my crippled hands. Yeah, these are okay. They're decent-ish little brushes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this and I'm going to let this bit dry. And then what we'll do is we'll pick out the hat with a smaller brush and we'll see how they go. As I said, so far, not bad for, as I said, £6 or £7. Or if you want to buy them now because they've jacked up their prices, about £11. But again, it's not that expensive, is it? So yeah, we'll let this dry. We'll let the wash dry and we'll come back and we'll see how some of the small... Right, guys, we are back. Yeah, obviously that's one coat. I would always give that a second coat. And I'm going to. Don't get me wrong, this isn't me like, meh, it's just for this video, it's fine. This is one of my models and I want it to look good. But, as I said, for the purposes of this video, it only needs the one coat. So what I'm going with now is the size 2. One thing I will say is when you wash your brush, it's holding its point really well. So yeah, so for the hat, I'm going to use Steel Legion Drab, which is one of my absolute favourite browns, and I'm quite close to running out of it. I'm just waiting for Games Workshop to reopen up so I can get some more. It's a really nice leathery brown. It's not quite snakebite leather, which was one of my favourite colours of all time, but it's still nice. So let's have a look. So as you can probably just see there, it's holding its point really well. You would expect that though, however, from the first time you use a brush. But as I'm sure any of you who's used a cheaper brush will know, that's not always the case, is it? There's many a time when we've used a brush for the first time and gone, these are garbage. Now this, of course, would need a second coat. I much prefer to work, as a lot of you do, with a more watery paint, multiple coats. Although contrast has kind of changed that for some people. I, like Nate, you'll have probably heard in other Nate videos, I use contrast as a tool, as opposed to a be-all and end-all. it's very mixed within our group, actually, because Nate and I use them as kind of another trick in our arsenal, like dry brushing, edge highlighting, stippling, etc. Sparks just outright doesn't like them, other than the white, which he's getting good use out of. Liam and Vince really like them, and let's face it, when does Alan paint? Very rarely, actually. We had been talking about this as a thing we were going to do, was like a painting circle as a video, maybe. So one weekend or one time when everyone was free, we'd all get together, we'd sit around a table and we'd kind of paint and joke and laugh, and just kind of like a painting circle, just friends painting together to motivate one another. And then the pandemic happened, and that kind of got put on the wayside. But no, in terms of this actual brush, you can see it holds its paint pretty well. As you can see when I'm using it, the brushes, they're splaying a little bit, but no more than, say, a Games Workshop brush would do. Look at that. Yeah, I mean, if you wanted my honest first opinion on these, not a terrible little brush for the cost. I mean, at the price I got them at, especially brilliant. But I would say, even if you're going to go and you're going to spend the, what are they? I think they said they're £11 now. I'll post the Amazon link down below so you can go and do it yourselves. But even at that, I think it's really decent value, if I'm going to be honest with you guys. Yeah. I mean, looking, that's a decent first coat. That wash always looks horrible. With camo shade, or I find I always need to put a second coat on, and then it won't really start to look good until I start to then highlight the model back up. Hopefully it won't look terrible. But yeah, in terms of it, I think it's absolutely fine. These decent-ish brushes, would I pay £11 for them? Probably, when you think an Army Painter set costs you 40, I think, these days, 30, 40. You get more brushes, of course you do, and you get dry brushes and things like that. But are these a decent brush for the price? I would say yes. However, as I said, what we'll do is a month or so down the line, maybe a bit later, depending on how much painting I get done, we'll have a look at how they've held up. Because it's all very well them being okay on the first usage, but how are they going to hold up 6 months down the line? So they're called Golden Maple. But if you go on, as I said, the link will be below, or if you go on Amazon and you just type Wargaming paintbrushes, they'll come up. I think they were like the second one. And they have different size packs. They have like a 10 pack and stuff like that. But I didn't like the look of some of the other brushes. But anyway, guys, let me know what you think of this new format. I will try and sort out the camera so it doesn't zoom in and try and autofocus on the wrong bits. But that's going to be a work in progress. I'm also using a new lapel mic. Hopefully the sound will come out clearer. I know normally we don't have the washer running in the background. We do sometimes have Ghost Dryer though. I mean, yeah, guys, let me know what you think. Are you guys looking at cheap alternative for brushes? If there's any you have found that are really good, let me know. Either give me the Amazon link or tell me what they are so I can search them myself and maybe they'll feature in another video. And obviously big props to you guys. But yeah, hopefully you're all staying safe. You're getting some hobby done and you spend some time with your family. And the most important thing of all is you're staying inside. Yeah, this public service announcement is over. But yeah, thanks a lot for watching, guys. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, share with friends, family, neighbours. That weird old lady who lives across the road with the cats. You know the one. But yeah, pray to the dice gods. Hope to smile upon you. And take care, guys. Bye.